Google was created in 1997 by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Over the next 18 years, it grew to basically surface the globe, and it's huge and should be as diverse as you would think it is, but unfortunately it's not. As much as the company has grown, Google's diversity hasn't seen as much growth. The majority of Google's employee and tech people are white men. Of these numbers, 61% are white, 30% are Asian, 4% are considered two or more, 3 are Hispanic, 2% are black, and 1 are considered other. Of these numbers, 70% are men and only 30% are women. This is rather surprising considering how forward-thinking and open-minded Google is supposed to be. And a more targeted diversity policy using affirmative action is actually something that would probably work really well. Affirmative action helps a company establish equal opportunity employment and equal pay for equal work, and allowing employees to be promoted from within the company. It's always been pretty common practice within the workforce of the United States to link women and people of color out of higher paying positions, and giving those who do receive these positions less pay than that of the average white American man for the equal amount of work. Enabling women and people of color to earn the same pay as those of their white counterparts is one of the first steps to diversity within Google's construct. Not only this, but placing those who are more qualified in the position is something that's pretty important for the company itself, because you kind of want qualified people to be running your company. It's better business. Not allowing personnel to overlook those qualifications and more talents just because they're white or not white, excuse me, women or people of color is something that has to be used. Something pretty important is establishing especially considering you're trying to equalize the gender population within your company, is establishing boundaries and proper conduct between men and women by conducting trainings concerning sexual harassment and how to handle the situation, ensuring that both men and women feel safe to come forward when they have these feelings of harassment is pretty important with this kind of a diversity issue. In the same breath, being able to conduct seminars and trainings concerning ethnic diversity is something that's pretty important for something like this, considering the fact that you're trying to grow your different ethnic diversities up and bring the numbers more equal to those of your white and Asian employees. And it also gives your employees an opportunity to learn about different cultures and different ethnic groups. The affirmative action works really well within companies like this because it's something that umbrellas and does help them establish equal opportunity employment policies and equal pay for equal work policies, which are two things that are really extremely important. If you want to have a better business, you need to have employees who are willing to work for you and are motivated to work for you. And if you have women and people of color who are not receiving the same amount of pay as their white counterparts, they're not going to want to work for you. And if you're overlooking people who are more qualified and better able to do the job simply because they're women or people of color, it's bad business, and you're going to not have a business if you're not very careful with something like that. And using the affirmative action umbrella is pretty simple to do within any kind of company, whether it's Google or not. If affirmative action works in the private and the public sectors by allowing a company to distribute work and pay evenly, by allowing the economics of the company to become more diverse, because the places that you're looking for employees in a college is more diverse now because of affirmative action. Another, looking at diversity through an informed approach using sociology and the arts and humanity is actually something that could help. Using the arts to make new employees feel welcome by, using the arts to make your new employees of a different ethnicity feel welcome is something that can help, because you make them feel welcome, and you want them to feel welcome. If they don't feel welcome, then they're not going to want to work for you. Using the humanities for something like this is pretty important too, because you can use the humanities to allow the people in the human resources departments to use a more have a more working understanding of how those different ethnicities and different social groups process and deal with their everyday life, which can actually lead on to their professional life, which is something you don't really want. It can also allow your personnel department to be able to have a more compassionate and empathetic view for when those people do come to them. And this is where the trainings for sexual harassment and different ethnic groups come in. And, you know, because they can come to the personnel department because they feel welcome. It's all about being welcome, to be able to say that they're being harassed or bullied because of who they are, and that's something that has to be addressed too, when you have a diverse population. And sociological wise, you really need to look at diversity through a sociological lens, because it helps your company to understand how different society views women and people of color now, and how important that they can be to your company. And you really, really want people who can build your company and make your company grow, and you can't really overlook them simply because they're people of color or they're women. Um, using a strategy that uses the affirmative action umbrella is something that's really important. I feel it's really important, and it could really, really improve the interpersonal relations among the female and people of color populations at Google, and allow them to become a more diverse company. It can hopefully allow those within the populations to receive equal pay for their work, because like I said, nobody wants to do the same amount or more work for less pay than somebody else is doing simply because they're female or you know, Hispanic or black. It also can help them rise in the company and go farther in the company, and you can see more interdepartmental promotions. A program like this can hopefully allow Google to remind their employees that they are committed to diversity and are willing to work with their employees to ensure that they continue to work towards a common goal, especially when they use trainings and seminars to help bring more knowledge to their employees, and make their new employees who might happen to be women or people of color feel welcome by, you know, like I said, using the arts and humanities to learn more about their culture. Everybody wants to feel welcome, and if you don't feel welcome in a company, you're not going to be there. And being able to feel welcome at Google will help, just itself will help booster the numbers that they're looking to booster. And in my research, I can't really say that Google is not making an effort to raise their numbers, and because they are actually using the arts and humanities to make their employees feel welcome, which is something that is really important. Like I said, everybody wants to feel welcome, and if you don't feel welcome at your employee, you're not going to want to be there. And one of those things is equal opportunity and equal pay and being able to be promoted. And those are the things that are important. And I really do think something like this would help Google with their diversity issue. Thanks.